Welcome to LCB. Today, me and Gooch will be reviewing a pair of movies. Roadhouse.
We'll review one movie and then a steaming pile of shit.
Talking about Immaculate, the pile of shit, right? We're reviewing two movies, Immaculate and Roadhouse, and then we're also going to be doing a couple of news items as well. We could jump straight into the news, though, first of which being something that dropped yesterday, or not yesterday, last week, end of last week. Happy Gilmore 2 is apparently happening on Netflix. So Christopher McDonald kind of leaked this. The guy who plays Shooter McGavin. He's like in an interview, he's like, yeah, Sandler came up to him and said he's thinking about doing it. And at first I was like, he's got some issues where I'm like, I don't know if I really believe that.
He's the textbook, had a really big popular role guy and has not let go of that role since.
And like you just see pictures of him hanging out with like college kids and getting ripped and stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I believe him totally. So, but that I guess allegedly got confirmed that Happy Gilmore 2 is going to happen. With these, I always feel kind of like a twofold way where I'm like, on the one hand, I'm like, oh, like why would you like? What about Happy Gilmore's like late sequel? I don't know. I don't see a vision on how you do that. But on the other hand, like as long as Adam Sandler is doing it, I don't see why anyone should care. As long as the original creator is the one that's making the late sequel and he's the one cashing in on it. And this is definitely a money grab, no question about it. But as long as that money is going to the guy that originally created it, and in this case, Sandler, who cares?
I'm with you. I don't have high hopes for this at all. Like, I think this is probably going to be garbage.
Yeah.
But it's moving forward at Netflix. Like, this is part of his Netflix deal that he's just meeting his quota. If he went, like, honestly, at this point, go back and redo them all.
Yeah.
Go back and give me a Billy Madison 2. Give me a Waterboy 2. Fuck it. I don't, like, none of these other things he's doing for Netflix have been
Hubie Hallman is okay. Murder Mystery is okay.
The first Murder Mystery is pretty good, I guess. Yeah, whatever. I guess Senior Tour could be the move here.
I think this is going to be, for somehow, we're going to end up with Happy Gilmore playing in like the Hawaii Open or something like that. That's going to be the move here. He's going to be playing in like whatever the Pan-Pacific
How did this happen? He's playing in Hawaii.
Yeah, and that'll be the move, and that's fine. And again, I don't care because like Sandler's one of the few people where he could be doing like a total cash grab, taking his friends on vacation and shit. And I don't care because it's just who he is. You know what I mean? Like I like that about him because he's such a likable guy.
Get a bunch of fresh new golf cameos too. Like from the last one, like wasn't really a lot.
Him beating up Drew Carey.
Yeah, this one could have Tiger in it. I could definitely see Tiger dropping by for this, or Phil.
Who hosts that show where you have to name the person that they spoofed on SNL with Shane Gillis, where like none of the white people knew how to name a black person or knew what didn't know who like Harriet Tubman was and stuff by image.
I don't remember this at all.
Whatever that show is, I think it's like a network TV reality show. Get that host to do it. It might have been that other guy from SNL, actually, the dude who does like the cake one. I don't know. Get him beating up another game show host. Get him beating up Jeff D. Lowe. There we go. Yeah. Just him beating the fuck out of Jeff.
That's perfect crossover too, because Jeff is such a big golf guy.
And golf and Sandler fan and a game show host. Just him beat up, and like 95% of the people watching, like we have no. That's actually very.
Kirk is at home just pressing rewind, watching it over and over again.
But yeah, Happy Gilmore 2, sure, why not? Aaron Taylor Johnson has apparently allegedly been offered the role of Bond.
I thought you were going to say something completely different.
For ATJ?
Yeah, allegedly got something else too.
What?
It's something you typically take your dog to get done, or maybe you go to a barber to have it done to you. Starts with a G, ends with an M.
I'm so fucking lost. Oh, was groomed?
By his wife?
Yeah, no shit. That was an obvious one. Was that supposed to be a news item?
Well, he had like this quote last week for that Rolling Stone article.
He was like 18 when he met her.
Yeah, he's like I was doing things that you guys don't get it. I was doing things that 20-year-olds do when I was 13. Some people just grow up faster. I'm like, dude, that is not what you want to say in this situation. But go ahead. Yeah, the Bond stuff.
But yeah, for Bond, ATJ, I think obviously a great choice because there's a double. Like there's two ways to kind of like evaluate Bond, right? There's like the surface level shit, like British, handsome, wears the fuck out of a suit. If you watch Bullet Train, it's like a great kind of audition tape for him as like a kind of Bond character. Even a Bond villain, he would have been great as that in that role, like kind of like a heavy, versus not a main villain, but that would have been a great like henchman guy. But again, handsome, wears the suit well, got the accent. I think he's got all like that polished look. He fits all of that, and that's all surface level Bond stuff, which like a million actors can hit. But on the second level, he's like he gets that extra level of acting that you don't get out of someone like Pierce Brosnan or whatever, where they just have the surface level and they really just don't have that next gear. I think you get that with ATJ, and I think if you watch certain movies that like outside of his mainstream catalog, like Kick-Ass is like what I think most people I guess would know him from. Maybe I guess Marvel's, but like or Marvel stuff, but they wouldn't really.
He was just there for a cup of water, for a cup of coffee for Marvel stuff.
Yeah, but like if you watch something like Outlaw King, where he played like Douglas, he was so fucking good in that. He's just got that extra gear, and Bullet Train too, even extra gear. And I think that is something that you see Daniel Craig got out of the Bond role, which is what made his movies, specifically the two, so good.
Yeah, no, I think it would be a great casting. I mean, fantastic casting, but they're just dragging their feet on this. I'm not really sure why.
Broccoli, man.
Obviously, it ended 3 years ago now.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I would have thought they would have had the ball rolling at least by this point. I think they will by like the summer, because you can't just not do Bonds for this long. Like that's just the stable for Bond. Like they're always coming out.
What was the gap? Well, I guess the gap between Brosnan's last.
Those were so bad though.
Yeah, the gap between Brosnan.
They needed a break on that one.
Because he was 2006 was Casino Royale. And then I would guess the last Brosnan Bond was like probably 2002. So I guess not that far. But yeah, we're coming up on a time where we need to get it. And by the way, somebody at the Oscars, I don't remember who it was. It might have been Divine Joy Randolph had thanked Barbara Broccoli in her speech, and I was just like, Barbara Broccoli does something that's not Bond. I just assumed that like, she was the handler of that franchise and did nothing else, and that was it. But apparently, does other stuff too. So good for the Broccoli fam. Always funny every single time I hear their name. Just it makes me laugh.
I mean. But the Broccoli's.
Exactly. The first teaser for The Penguin dropped. Looks awesome. There's 8 episodes. We know the first 3 are going to be directed by Craig Zobel, who did Mayor of Easttown, Westworld, Leftovers. It's written by somebody who did, I think, Chuck and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They actually filmed it in New York City, which is awesome. So you're not going to get all like that CGI shit from like that we get a lot of like more, I guess like mostly non-HBO stuff. Colin Farrell looks awesome. Kristen Milioti is obviously on like a heater, absolute heater. Looks sick. I mean, you don't get a ton out of the trailer other than him telling a story about an old mobster, but it looked great. Vibe was awesome. I think a good substitute from the Gotham series that we were kind of promised.
Yeah.
That is not either. I think they said originally it was not going to happen now. And then they said, oh, it is happening, just maybe later. But either way, more of the Matt Reeves universe, I think, is perfect for DC, especially as like we move into the James Gunn DCEU. And like we still have this like off-branch Pattinson thing, which that's a whole nother thing and not coming out until 2026, which sucks ass. But this is a good little
brutal,
wet the beak a little bit and get us back into that world of Matt Reeves Gotham. So loved the little teaser.
Yeah, I mean the easiest win. What's his fuckface? The guy who runs Warner Brothers now.
Zaslav.
Yeah, that could be the easiest win for him. Just throw all the money Matt Reeves wants and let him just do whatever he wants in Gotham. Like he doesn't need to go to the rest of the DCU or even the rest of DC characters. Just stay in Gotham. There's plenty of characters there. So many like great written characters that you can have fun with. Just stay there. Do the Penguin series, do an Arkham series, do the Batman, maybe do a Nightwing thing. I don't know. He has an open playground there. I would give him all the money he wants and just try to keep him there. But the Penguin for now, we'll have to do.
Who has the right to apes? Which studio has apes?
Then I don't know.
Because that'd be another cool thing to watch. Is just
New Line?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you're
Universal?
Right. But that, I mean, Matt Reeves' Apes show would actually be kind of cool too. And by the way, it wasn't on the docket here, but the new Kong versus Godzilla, or Kong and Godzilla, it looks so fucking stupid. I'm actually kind of excited.
I just want to know how he got the robot arm.
Yeah, I guess he gets a prosthetic arm. Kong, it's ridiculous.
Wait, did they have to go like put him to sleep, like measure out his forearm?
Dude, I hope he had insurance. It was fucking. Boondock Saints 2 apparently happening with Norman Reedus, with Sean Patrick Flannery. It's such a weird, and I saw someone tweeting about this earlier. Fuck, I wish I remember. I wish I had it. Somebody was saying it's a weird movie in that so many people know what it is, but you'll very rarely hear a good word about Boondock Saints, which is very true. It's a very okay movie. It's got cool lines, very like, early 2000s, what people thought like Badass was supposed to be, I think, when you're growing up watching those type of movies. It's a whatever movie. It's got some cool lines. I think that there was like a late sequel at some point, right? I think this is actually the second one.
This is I think this is the third one.
Yeah, technically the third one. So I guess just another Boondock Saints movie is what we're looking for here. But yeah, I don't know. I thought Norman Reedus was kind of busy doing whatever that He's doing a Walking Dead spinoff where he's in France.
Being married to he's married to Heidi Klum. Yeah.
Is he really?
Do that. Yeah.
And also best friends with Kojima.
Yeah.
Which is always fun. I watched his documentary,
Kojima's. I've been wanting to watch that.
It's awkward because Death Stranding was not that good. Like the whole thing is like everyone hyping him up and being like, he's this genius. They don't know what they want. And because like he's talking about, he's like, yeah, I want this game where you're gonna be like a delivery man and like there's not gonna be a lot of shooting and he's like, yeah, everyone's gonna push back on that and all like his like supporters are like, yeah, people just don't know what they want. Once they see this, they're gonna be blown away. And like the movie, like in hindsight, like yeah, the game wasn't overseas, so it's a little weird. But it's other than that, it's cool to see the rest of his background. But yeah, so Boondock Saints, I think it's a whatever thing to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not. It moves the needles. It moves the needle zero for me. Like nothing.
We got dueling House of the Dragon trailers, one for House Green, or one for the Green faction, I guess, and one for the Black faction, the Targaryens versus the High Towers. Really cool. I like that idea a lot of dueling trailers, like kind of supporting each side. Interesting idea, like the little prelim thing where they have the actresses like kind of like hyping up their own team. I thought that was really cool, and I'm more excited for it now because the more I think about it, and I wasn't as high on season 1 as you guys were, from what I remember.
You love the back half though, right?
The back half was awesome.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
For sure. And it was a lot of setup, a whole ton of setup. And I think that this season, just based off these teasers, is going to be all the payoff from that setup, which I'm super pumped about.
Yeah, I'm ready to see them go at it. Ready for the dragons. I mean, you have to be Team Black at this point, right? At least show-wise. I've heard the books makes it a little bit more even, but you got to be Team Black.
Me and Clem did dueling blogs for the trailers where he did Team Black and I did Team Green, where I was just like, you got to be Team Green just because we got all the freaks. We got Laris Hightower, the foot fetish dude. Yeah. We got Kristen Cole, the cucked guy that like is driven entirely by sex but is sexless. All these different dudes, and I love that. But yeah, very pumped for that. There's a new Office series at NBC being made by Greg Daniels, who obviously made the original, and Michael Coman, who did Nathan For You. New Office and new characters, but in the same world as the original. Kind of similar to the same thing we were saying, or at least that I was saying with Happy Gilmore 2. As long as the same guy's making it, like fucking whatever, what do I care? And it's not even like the Office, the American Office was the original either. It was based on obviously the British one. I don't know. It's a whole total wait and see thing. Maybe this type of comedy just doesn't play anymore. But then again, like Parks was really good. Like stuff like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is like not necessarily the same thing, but still was very good. But
I think it just boils down to the original run of The Office had Steve Carell. Parks and Rec had Amy Poehler. Brooklyn Nine-Nine had Andy Samberg. Like these shows don't work unless you have like one real great star leading them.
And all those got like all like the residual or the tertiary people became huge too. Like fucking what's his name?
Chris Pratt. Like
was supposed to be written off. Yeah. Like he wasn't even supposed to be a character, and he became
Aziz Ansari. I mean, not huge anymore, but there was a point where he was the biggest comedian like going for a second.
I went to see him in MSG. It's sold out.
Exactly.
What's his name? Who's Ron Swanson? Fucking Nick Offerman. All these different actors.
Audrey Plaza.
Yeah, Aubrey Plaza from that, and then also and obviously a million of them from The Office, and then some of them even now from like I don't know why I keep saying Brooklyn Nine-Nine as if they're all like it's really just Parks and The Office, but whatever. But yeah, so it does really depend, like you're saying.
Yeah, like
who's the cast?
They got to cast well.
Who's the cast?
Yeah,
and I don't know who.
Because we saw it. I mean, like they tried to bring in like even guys like fucking Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work if you don't have the right pieces there.
Yeah. So that's gonna be massive. Like that, the first casting wave will be humongous. And then the last thing, Alien Romulus first trailer, Isabella Merced, Kaylee Spaney, directed by Fede Alvarez, who did Don't Breathe and Evil Dead. The Don't Breathe directing is the more interesting thing to me for this case because this seems to be more like the return to Alien, like just Alien, the horror movie, Ridley Scott, isolation, scared of aliens running away from them. And I think that him directing is awesome because Don't Breathe capitalized on that beautifully in an awesome way. So applying that and like grafting that into the world of Alien is awesome. I was when I blogged it is just crazy how the Alien franchise went from Ridley Scott to James Cameron to David Fincher, and just like without missing a beat, all three of them. And Alien 3, or people shit on it at the time because it wasn't the same thing as Alien or Aliens and didn't really capture that same sort of thing. It's more like a character study thing. It was really weird. But in retrospect, Alien 3 is awesome. But yeah, so really, really interesting trailer. I think you don't get.
I loved this teaser trailer.
But they always have good trailers.
They do, but
yeah, Kroll was saying as much, and he's completely right.
They do, but I mean, this one looked awesome. Come on, it looked scary as hell, practical. Like the lighting was great, looked intense, like out in space. Kaylee Spaney, by the way, I guess she's just gonna be the next thing.
Yep.
I mean, she's like, how do you go from a Sofia Coppola movie to an Alex Garland movie to a Fede Alvarez Alien movie, all within a year? Like, she's like 21 years old.
Yep.
So she must be like knocking out these auditions. Like her tape must be unreal.
Her game tape. Yeah, but she's been sick. And the trailer was awesome. It's just like, I feel like with this franchise, it's such a wait and see at this point where we've been, I don't want to say let down very often. Because again, I like Prometheus. I didn't like Covenant. I think if you go look at the crossover shit, like AVP, like at first AVP is like a really fun, stupid FX movie in that way. But like the second one was really bad. And then, I don't know, just Resurrections was shit. Like, it's a very checkered sort of history for the franchise, I would say. The great is all-time top peaks, but then the valleys are pretty low. So it's just kind of another similar to The Office thing. You got to wait and see.
Man, if we get a great Alien movie this year, though, that'd be so nice for the summer.
Great. It'd be fantastic. I miss seeing the chest bursters and those fucking disgusting, nasty tongues. But yeah, that's news. Let's start with Immaculate and end with Roadhouse. So Immaculate, been getting a lot of I wouldn't even say praise. I would say like the early reviews I saw on Immaculate were very pro, and then like after that, the more waves of people coming in and they're like, we're like, this really wasn't that good, and so like I kind of had like a neutral view going into it. So Immaculate. Cecilia, a woman of devout faith, is warmly welcomed to a picture-perfect Italian countryside where she's offered a new role in an illustrious convent. When it becomes clear to Cecilia that her new home harbors a dark and horrifying secret, she gets, scared that their synopsis kind of cut in half there. It's directed by Michael Mohan, directorial debut. Sydney Sweeney, obviously the big draw, and then Simona Tabasco, who was the hot Italian girl from White Lotus.
Yeah, she's just the really hot chick from White Lotus.
Yeah. Okay, so this movie... I think that there are some things about this movie that are good, and it's basically just two things. To me, it's Sydney Sweeney's awesome.
Yeah,
she's really acting wise, really, really does a great job, and the music was really good. I think the music was really like good. Gets into the vibe, very creepy, very scary. I like that both of those aspects of it a ton. There's not much else I think I liked about it, really at all.
You don't think it looked great, at least
at points. But so I'll stick with there for now. Those are the two big things I like about it. I don't think there's a ton more about this that are great. Great.
I really don't disagree with you. I see why I should say the critic crowd really enjoyed this, like off the bat, because it is like the technical stuff I do think is great. Like Sweeney's performance, the costumes look great. I think it's shot really well. Music, like you said, good, but like, boy, oh boy, is this like a chore for the first hour.
Yeah. Good
Lord. And it's supposed to be scary, and it should be scary. And I was kind of wondering what you would think of this, because I left the theater, and I was like, if I was Catholic or if I was like a woman, would have I felt more fear like right off the bat? But hearing you say that, I just don't think it really built up any kind of horror dread, or at least it waited too long to do it. And you get to the back third and you're like, finally. But it's too little, too late for me.
You know, maybe this is a bad analogy, but do you know how like in the ads for like ice cream, they actually using like mashed potatoes or whatever?
Oh yeah.
Like it kind of reminds me of that, where like you look at it and you're like, wow, that's amazing. But then if you ate it, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like the content, the actual content of this movie, like the plot of this movie, and I know that I like that you mentioned that how I would think about it, because to me, it's no better than The Nun. But it thinks it's way better than Nun. It thinks it's way smarter, elevated, like all of these things. And it's really not. It's a really dumb shit horror level concept that they attempted to make artsy.
Stupid. And we'll go ahead. I think the premise is probably out there. Actually, no.
It's probably not. So we'll say like Mark Spoiler here. If you're
skip ahead like probably 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's stupid as shit. Like they're like really saving stupid. The genetic code of Jesus Christ and like trying to inseminate her with it. Yeah, no, it's your typical dumb horror, like Nun horror. But it does try to be elevated. Like you said, like it tries to be elevated the whole way through. I actually think it kind of hurts the movie for that reason. Like it's so focused on being prestige, and I think it forgets to be scary.
It's not really scary to me. I was not
No.
scared at all. It was like kind of just like a bad story.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a dumb, and not even like a drama, but I guess. And I think I'd agree with you in that there are scenes that are really well shot. There's no doubt about it. Again, the music's great. The acting specifically from Sweeney was awesome. But outside of that, I was not engaged with the story at all. And when their big reveal happens, I'm just like, that's stupid.
And they gave us blue balls at the end.
Yeah.
Not even letting us see the little freak.
Yeah, not even letting us see the little disgusting baby Jesus 2.0 making the weird noises. But everyone's talking about that scene. Obviously, her delivery scene, I guess, of the big screams, the Goku C Super Saiyan 3 screams.
Yeah, they were good. It's just a little unearned.
Yeah, it's just I don't really care about it. You know what I mean? And so for me, Immaculate, I dumped it. I'm not like at 60 for me. It's like, to me, and that's right where I have like the Nun 1.
Yeah, I'm at 55, 60 right there with you.
Yeah, and it's kind of just a bummer because it is really just a movie that should be a stupid, low budget horror movie dumped by like Blumhouse or whatever, done way less artsy, and maybe that does great. But the fact that they try to make it presented as being like an elevated, big creepy horror thing, to me, I think, like you were saying too, like kind of like detracts from what could be, I think, a good shitty horror movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's hard to explain, but like I think that's where I kind of land on it. But again, I really like the music. Whatever their main theme was, I like that they were doing with the choir, I really like that a ton. So 60 for me, like 59, 60.
I could see women liking this a little bit more. The themes are very heavy towards like,
sure,
yeah, like pregnancy, body autonomy, like stuff like that. So maybe that we missed the mark on that, but I thought this is boring as hell.
It's really boring. Really boring, and just like I think this so much hinges on the midway twist of explaining what is actually happening, which is like falls very flat.
Yep.
And then you're closing like your climax of her like escape or whatever, and that's really just nothing too.
Yeah.
And I think that they try to like the big scenes that they try to show you, they're like, oh, look how gross this is. It's like her beating the fuck out of the nun and choking out the dude. Where I'm like, it's just kind of like not scary.
Roadhouse had more blood than that.
Beating the fuck out of like an 80-year-old woman. I'm just like, okay. And like the smash him with the rock and all that, whatever. And that ending was very like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It was just kind of a bummer of a movie.
Go see Dune again.
Yeah, especially compared to, or considering how good the early word of mouth about, not word of mouth, but I guess mostly critics just talking about it was about it. So yeah, not very fun. And now Roadhouse, a movie that we've disagreed about a ton. And I think that you were at war with almost the entire office over, because everyone.
Robbie doesn't count.
Well, Robbie Fox is huge on it. I was just talking to Fights. Fights loves it.
That's just obvious. Yeah.
And most of the other people, well, at least from my like back section, like all of them, like they all really like it too. But again, really like is a maybe misleading term here. So
they had fun with. I think everyone recognizes this is a bad movie.
Correct.
More people had fun with it than
you did.
Than I did. Yes.
So Roadhouse, obviously Jake G, Daniela Malachor from who's like Ratcatcher, a bunch of James Gunn stuff as well. Billy Magnuson, Conor McGregor, directed by Doug Liman. Ex-UFC fighter Dalton takes a job as a bouncer at Florida Keys Roadhouse, only to discover that the paradise is not all it seems. So obviously reimagining of the 1989 movie with Patrick Swayze. I think something to get off the bat early is, and this is something that I didn't realize was a thing until I blogged the original trailer for this movie. People are very protective about Roadhouse, and I don't get it.
And you can't call it bad either. Like
it's a bad movie.
I like the movie a lot. It's a terrible movie.
It's a bad movie, dude. It's crazy. And I when I blogged the trailer originally, I was like, this is the perfect type of movie. I think my quote was like, this is the perfect type of movie to remake, because it's not like it's some Godfather or some shit like that. It's just kind of like a shitty 80s movie that we all universally like, kind of like Top Gun or something like that, where it's like we can reflectively reflect on the movie and be like, this is a bad movie that we just like. And that's fine to remake something like that, because there's like the IP name attached to it. You can do something new with it. It'll be fun. And when I said that, people are like, fucking, you're going to shit talk Roadhouse? Are you fucking kidding me? And I'm like, yeah, it's not a good movie.
I thought we were all on the same page with that. Like, I thought that was like a universal, like, oh, you want to talk about a good, bad movie? Talk about Batman and Robin. That's fun. You talk about Roadhouse. Like, I thought we all agreed on that. Nope. People think like Roadhouse is they act like it's a well-made movie.
Ripping people's throats out. Oh, fuck you guys, like you. It's like, it's a stupid movie.
He's doing Tai Chi in his backyard for like 10 minutes. It's cool. It's cool. He looks cool as hell doing it, but I mean, it's dumb.
It's a ridiculous, stupid, but fun and like a nostalgic 80s movie. But don't act like it's some fucking brilliant work of art or like untouchable.
You're just making me want to rewatch it.
Dude, it's but that's the thing.
Yeah, it's stupid.
But like you can like the movie and still like kind of I think objectively realize like it's not or whatever even subjectively, but the general public will like even if you go look on audience and critic scores of the movie from the original, they're not good. It's not a good movie, like in that sense, in the more, I guess, critical sense. But yeah, so that's something to get off another way quickly. This movie, I think for me, and my big takeaway from it is that I think I had a lot of fun watching this movie for a couple different reasons. One is that I think it, for the most part, understood the sort of role it was going for, which is like, hey, we're just going to give you dumb fights, dumb, corny one-liners. We're going to give you kind of like a good general vibe. And that's something I think one of the first things I tweeted about it was like, this is a great vibes movie. And I was talking to Fights about this earlier just before we came in. This is a movie where I watched it and I'm like, man, I want to go to the tropics. I want to go to the Keys and drink a frozen drink right now. Because that's the vibe this movie does so well. I think like the setting, the actual bar was sick. I think Jake G is, I know your big critique is the miscasting, and I think I might even agree with you there, but I think he's fine. And I think all the supporting cast around it is awesome, if that makes sense. So maybe like if you want to put it that way, him as a lead, yeah, you can replace him with someone else and be fine. But everything around him I think was really well done as far as like casting wise and character wise goes. And I think it was corny on purpose, which worked. It worked in some areas than others. I think the fights worked in some areas, but didn't work in others. Sometimes it looked awkward the way they kind of try to shoot it in a oneer, and it just did. Yeah, he put a lot of effort into making
hands and
yeah, he made a huge effort to try and show you punches connecting physically.
See, yeah, so right off the bat, I thought this looked like ass because of the CGI fighting. I don't think the CGI was like a lazy decision. I think it was a stylistic decision.
Yeah,
that just doesn't work for me.
I think that was a big thing with Lyman. It's like he wants to show you connecting punches because like most of these movies, and if you go watch the original Roadhouse, it'll be that. It'll be like, oh, like you know what I mean? Yeah. Like he wanted to show you like connecting punch, and like you see that, except sometimes it just looks awkward because they're not actually punching them, and it's like done with like a weird whatever CGI technique.
And they lead off with like the worst punch of the whole movie. The Post Malone punch is the worst punch you see the entire movie.
The Post Malone fight was rough. But yeah, so I think that for me, the big pros of this movie, the one-liners when they work, they really work. The like, oh, we're in an octagon here. Who taught you shapes? That line is hysterical.
Dude, Conor McGregor, first off, all of his lines were like the Madam Web though. They were just way off, but they were so funny. Haven't been clubbing in a while. That killed me.
We're going to need more sandwiches. I am famished.
Like, he was by far my favorite part. The running bit of him, like, he doesn't know how to park a car, so he just keeps running a car into, like, a tree or, like, the side of a house.
Dude, the opening sequence, and we could focus on McGregor more. The opening sequence of McGregor, like, jumping out of, like, the Italian guy's house and walking through butt naked. Mm-hmm. And like, they call him, and he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm clothes shopping. As he's, like, doing a Terminator bit of ripping the dude's clothes off. Like, I think he was... And people maybe will like because of the weird. I think he kind of got stuck between an Irish accent and an American accent at points.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on.
But the lines, for the most part, were funny.
They're funny.
And he's just fucking this giant, like old school, like 80s villain, just like walking through, just mega strong, dude. And I kind of liked it.
His big beefcake ass.
Yep.
I'm surprised the number of people who like the movie but didn't like the McGregor stuff because that feels like the most essential, like distillate, like 80s. Bullshit. Like it's
like sort of campy, corny 80s villain.
Yeah, like I really enjoyed that.
I thought was really, really funny. I'm trying and we can let's focus on this. What didn't you like about it?
Okay, so
I recognize it's a bad movie. For me it'd be like a 65, which is like a point higher than the original.
I think it looks so bad. Like the CGI fight made me nauseous at some points, like to the point where it just took me out of the film completely. Jake Gyllenhaal, I think he's miscast. Obviously, when I say miscast, I don't mean bad actor. Jake Gyllenhaal is fucking fantastic actor. But he's so intense to the point, and this might just be because of his previous roles too, where he doesn't have, I don't know if he has that ability like the Schwarzeneggers, the Swayzes, the, other big action stars from the 80s and 90s where they can sell you on a ridiculous concept. Like, whatever, this is stupid, but this actor's making it work for me. I don't know if he has that gear which isn't like a problem because he's not starring in these movies often. But I don't know if he has that.
So I think, and maybe to your point, a good actor, ironically for another Prime thing, would have been great for this. Is like Alan Ritchson would have been perfect.
They almost make him do. They almost do like the season 1 of Reacher at the very end. He's like cleans up the town. He's like, all right, see ya.
Yeah, like he's almost doing the same thing, and like that's like the scene where he beats up all the guys outside the bar. He does like Reacher does that same thing. But like I agree with you in that he's almost like an actor. I'm like, you are too good to be doing this. But I also recognize like, hey, fucking, that's got to be a fun ass movie to make. Go to the DR and shoot that movie in like whatever 3 months with Conor McGregor and co and like all these like very funny actors around him. I know you had mentioned like Arturo.
Yeah, Arturo Castro, man,
yeah, dude, he's so funny.
You guys are gonna know the name. I didn't know the name. I had to look it up, or I paused it on Prime because they have that wonderful feature.
X-ray, yeah.
He was the tortilla guy in the menu. Tortilla. I'm trying to think of what else. He's been a character actor in a few things, and every time he pops up,
funny.
He's just the aloof friend who just doesn't have a clue what's going on, and he just delivers it perfectly every time. It's hilarious. He's the little short guy in this one, and you'll know exactly who I'm talking about if you watch the movie because he probably made you laugh too. He was great. I think Billy Magnuson terribly miscast. People said he looked like Joe Burrow. Not wrong.
Yeah.
Shaved sides of the heads. Just kind of a little weird. It almost felt like a villain that you'd have.
I think they wanted him to be like the prep school bully villain, which I get because that's kind of the role you're going for. I just don't know that he was perfect. I think it was funny though.
I think it would have been more interesting just to have his dad out of prison and have like a big drug guy as the main villain running the town instead of having his dad be the drug guy running the town from prison through his son with, bunch of henchmen. That was just a little convoluted for this. Too, some of them were like
when McGregor walks up to them and he's just like the guy she's like, who are you? And he's like, shh. And like gives him the fucking hand. Dude, that's so funny. That's perfect.
I told you, I love the McGregor stuff. I really don't get the people who didn't like the McGregor stuff. It's funny. It's stupid and campy. But yeah, the fighting. I think the really biggest issue is the fighting for me, which is what this movie is sold on. Roadhouse not being a massive part of the movie, like the actual bar, kind of took me out of it. Like I don't know if they spent enough time there.
The bar?
Yeah, doing bouncer shit.
I feel like they spent a lot of time there.
I don't feel like they felt. I feel
like
the bar at all.
Like after he gets to. What was the town called again? Wherever the town is.
Glass Key.
Whenever he gets Glass Key, they feel like they spend like 3 or 4 sequences.
Bookstore. Too much time at the bookstore.
Bookstore was stupid. That was my biggest complaint about the movie.
I still don't get what they were doing there.
They were trying to show like, oh, he's got a heart of gold, whatever. Like he's still a good guy, and like that was gonna be his big like thing that's gonna flip his switch from being. Because that's the whole thing, like his bit, right? Is like Dalton's like, oh, I'm scared of like that next person I could be, where I killed my friend and all that stuff, and that was gonna be the thing that switched him, was burning it down. It was stupid. They could have done it a different way. But once they got there, and like all those sequences where he's with the dude from the latest season of Fargo, whose name I don't know, the other bouncer, like he's like teaching him how to fight. I feel like they spent
Lucas Gage.
Yeah, they spent all that time with him. I thought that was funny. By the way,
also slightly miscast in my opinion.
As a bouncer, yeah, that's kind of the idea, right?
I mean, you got the guy from Red, White, and Royal Blue.
I think that he's but that's kind of the idea, right? Is like he's shitty at his job, and Jake G's like teaching him how to do it. And another thing to add on to that, I think one of the great things about this was every sequence in that bar was sick. And as far as like we're saying again, like the vibe part of this movie was awesome. The music was great. I loved every single band they had in that cage. I loved it.
I missed the blind pianist. No, I'm just kidding. I like some of the music. Some of it was good.
When they're just sitting there like still playing as people are like beating the fuck out of each other, that's sick.
What does McGregor say when he opens up the cage? It's like, hello, band.
Yeah. Dude, it's so... He crushes every scene.
Should have been the lead.
No. Hell no. But no, I think that for me, I watched this movie, there's a lot of parts of... And I agree with you. The fighting... The sequences, some points, whenever they're like on the ground and like actually wrestling, I think those sequences look great. But whenever they're doing like a stand-up punch fight, there are parts where I'm like, oh, that looked cool. And the other parts where I'm like, that's weird and obviously not real. And it kind of takes me out of it a bit.
A little too ripped. Everyone's a little too ripped too, which kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal is almost disgusting to look at in this movie.
Yeah, he is very muscular, very dominant.
Let's calm down on the Ozempic.
Yeah. He's got the V-taper like a maniac.
Yeah, it's bizarre to look at it.
Except
he looks more ripped than Connor, which is like...
Connor's beefed up now. Yeah. He's fucking allegedly... No, I don't know how to say it, tweaking out of his mind. But he was having a blast, dude. His pupils fully dilated, just walking up and being like, "How are ya?" And just like beating the shit out of people. I loved it. I haven't been clubbing in a long time.
Yeah, that one killed me,
dude.
That was my favorite line.
Every part, like every line he did was very, very funny to me. And again, it's bad, but in a good way. And that's the thing where I think the disconnect maybe happens for you to me in this movie, where I'm like, this is a stupid movie. There is no doubt about it. But there's, to me, a place in my heart for like in movies. I know there is for you too, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I like Jumper, Doug Liman's Jumper, which is also dumber than rocks, but I fucking think it's fun.
Yeah, and I think that I had a lot of fun with this. Am I going to watch it anytime soon? Probably not. I don't think anytime in the next few years or whatever. But this is a movie I would like stop in and watch if it was on TV, just to watch like, hey babe,
I want to watch this
McGregor
with a group of friends.
It'd be
and see if that changes
friends.
anything.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like that. That's a bummer that this just didn't hit theaters, because I do think Robbie probably had a great time in the theater watching this with a crowd.
He was right in behind Conor McGregor, and he said he was.
And he was poking his publicist,
poking him every time. He like, I see that part, which is so funny, so perfect. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I think there's a lot of it that could be better, but like I don't know if I'd want a Roadhouse remake to be done in the same way as like a Top Gun Maverick, where it's
absolutely
like
not
elevated to some next level by like trying to be something extraordinary. It's like, I just kind of liked it to be stupid fun. And a movie where I watched it, I'm like, fuck man, I want to go down to Florida and drink a what do you call it, frozen drink. That's a movie. That's exactly what I'm going to do for the 24 hours following that.
I wish they'd pick somewhere other than the Florida Keys.
Why?
It didn't feel like it had a personality to it. You know what I mean?
I disagree.
There was no, like, the Southern accents weren't there. The one accent that was there, Danielle Milkwire, she's like, I grew up in the Keys my whole life.
Did she say? Oh, I thought her
she said she was from the Keys.
I love her dad. Her dad's one of my favorite. Like, he shows up in a movie and you're like, the sheriff, and I'm like, that guy.
Yeah.
You remember, like in Behind Enemy Lines, he's like the French, like UN guy that makes them not rescue him. He's like the bad guy in Fast 5 and the favelas and like all that shit. Every time I see him, I'm just like, I fucking.
But this isn't like Louisiana. Ooh, the Gulf in Louisiana. Give them a bunch of New Orleans accents. Have it be grimy down there.
It also would be financially a smart choice because of the tax breaks they give you in Louisiana.
Yeah,
like if you watch a
Werner
movie,
Herzog knows all about that.
Yeah, if you watch a movie that was filmed in the United States, there's like a 50% chance it was like, I would say like it's 30-30-30. It was shot in either Louisiana, Atlanta, or LA. Like that's the three places you're going to see. If you see a movie, it's shot in one of those three places here, and then if not, Toronto or Vancouver, and that's it. And then you go to like, is it Prague? Gives you really good shooting credits, I think.
Is that where they did Game of Thrones?
No, that was Croatia. But they do, I think like every movie that's set in like Western Europe, they're just like, yeah, fuck it, Prague. And then like every other one is, I think, in like Belarus or some shit, maybe Romania, forget. But yeah, so that was Roadhouse. I think we both agreed not a good movie.
Yeah. But wait, we both agree the original is not a good movie either, but like fun.
But I had as much of a good time with this as a good bad movie, which you did not.
Yeah, this is just a hard movie to honestly review. You just got to watch it. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you not to watch this movie because I'm not surprised people had fun with it. I just did not at all.
By the way, what's her name from Shrinking was really good in it too, I thought.
Yeah, she is good.
Really
I don't know her name, but she plays pretty much the character the same way she does in Shrinking, but it's very enjoyable. It's funny.
She was good. I think the actress who played the bar owner could have used like more charisma, I guess. Because I feel like that could have been like, because like the bar I think was such a great sort of character of the movie, but I think that she didn't own the bar enough, if that makes sense. Like I feel like I should have associated her with like the bar. Maybe it's because she was like too like good looking, and like I expect a bar owner of a shitty Florida Keys Roadhouse to be like a grubby, disgusting person. Yeah, maybe that was part of it, but I don't know. But yeah, that was maybe another thing to think about. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it was a good bad movie. And you were just a little bit on the other end of that. Yeah. Another two things that just came out: Shogun latest episode, Invincible latest episode. Shogun, I think every episode I watch, I'm more sad that we're not getting another season, but also like again, when you look at, we were just talking about Three Body Problem, or no, we weren't actually, but Three Body Problem. I started watching a couple episodes, like an episode, and changed it. I'm like, it's not for me. But like when you watch something like DB Cooper and Eric Bischoff, or whatever Trillwoods call him, like outpace source material, like you don't want that. So I don't want that for Shogun either. But man, it's so good. And I'm watching like behind the scenes stuff on it, and it's like just so awesome because like Hiroyuki Sanada, I didn't realize this was also producer on it, and he's like all over the place, like involved in like every minute detail of the show, which I think is sick, and like making sure like every little detail gets across and isn't just like lost in interpretation. And our white dude Cosmo Jarvis,
Cosmo Jarvis,
he's growing on me. I thought he was so hammy at first, but it's really grown on me a lot.
It works in the show.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I could ever see him in anything else trying to do this, but it's in the show. I'm John Blackthorne.
I'm John Blackthorne. How dare you, despicable piece of shit. Like, I just...
that one clip. Yeah, the one clip that was going viral when he tries to stop them from, like, looking into the little, whatever, the little Palantar or whatever they're called.
Yeah. What does he say? He says something really funny.
It's like, you sweat dribbling
piece of swine.
Yeah.
Trillo sent me like a funny, what do you call it?
In a woman's quarters.
Yeah. It's intolerable. Like, yeah, man, he kills me.
So we have what, 5 episodes left now? It's a 10 episode series, I'm pretty sure.
I believe so. I think you're right on that. But yeah, so I'm trying to find that because Trillo sent me something very funny. He did like his own take, John Blackthorne getting... Wait, let's see if I can play this. Hold on.
What? Sorry. He says you can't jack off here. Now listen to me, you shit sniffing. I demand you let me jack off here.
But yeah, so Shogun has been awesome. Just sad that there's not going to be like a ton left. But we've been setting up for like what is going to be, I think, a really cool, kind of similar to with what was the other thing we were just talking about with like House of the Dragon. Where it's been like a lot of really good setup. Like the sake scene in this last episode was awesome. So good. Really well acted. And I think we're setting up for like a really, really cool big action sequence coming soon. And Invincible, I think, has also been trending in the right direction. This one is like, the episode before last episode was crazy, insane, massive. This one's definitely a little bit geared back, I would say, but a lot of more maybe set up for what's going to happen in this next one for this next week.
Yeah, I mean, so they're finishing off with what's his name? I can't remember his name. It's like Levi or something like that. The black dude with the fucked up head.
The brain
jumping through dimensions. Yeah, that villain is he's psychotic. So the next 2 episodes, he's terrifying. It should be, if they do it right, incredible. And in fact, they've been juicing up some of the scenes from the comic books and honestly making them better. Like the action sequences, like the one from the 5th episode, the very end, when the shrinking girl jumps inside the guy's mouth, and then they kind of answer the question of, could Ant-Man kill Thanos the butthole? That's not how it happens in the book at all. Like she just kind of dies and it's a dude, but they made it way better. That scene was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
On the series. So yeah, no, I'm loving it. Again, you've said it in every single post you've made about it. It's just fucking absurd that they did this release schedule. It's ridiculous. Absurd, and you can't let them off the hook for this because they'll try and do it again. It should not be allowed. It shouldn't be the norm. Yeah, no.
In an 8-episode season, they do season breaks for like 30 episode shows, like in a season, like 30 episode in a season thing. That's like whatever, fine. But in an 8-episode fucking season, to split it in half after waiting 2 years.
Yeah.
Between seasons is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And they really haven't given like a good explanation as to why.
Yeah, they just said they needed to finish up the animation. But that's like, well, then just
wait longer.
Finish up the animation and just release the entire season at that point, because we'd been waiting for 2 years.
Crazy.
So what's another 3 months at that point?
Absolute crazy.
And it did definitely kill the hype. I see way less chatter about the show now.
The first season, like the word of mouth when that came out was unreal. Like we were a big part of that, I think, too. Like the second we saw it, we were like, oh my God, watch this. Like this season, it's just you blue balled everybody.
Yep.
You blue balled everybody for 2 years, and then you blue balled them again. We're doing this fucking, I don't know how to explain it. It's like the boy who cried wolf is wrong, but it really pisses me off the more I think about it. Like it really is just such a disservice to fans of your show to do something like that.
Yeah, it almost feels like, it feels slimy. It feels like they're trying to spread out subscriptions. It feels like they're trying to juice their numbers somehow. Like it just doesn't feel great.
Really pisses me off.
X-Men 97, have you watched that?
I haven't watched yet.
It's very good. It's very good.
You raving about it. I saw Clem raving about it. I never watched the original show, so I don't have a baseline.
It's good. It's for kids, but it's good. Yeah, and so is this. This is for kids, but it's a great X-Men series.
How's Remy LeBeau?
You talking about Gambit?
Yeah.
He's a sex symbol. You should see him. They have him wearing crop tops with his V lines out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's hitting on Rogue. Oh yeah.
Poor Channing Tatum.
He really. It sucks because I honestly think this series is going to make him Gambit once again very popular, and then they're going to have to cast Gambit, and Chris Channing Tatum's going to be 55 years old.
Yep. Can he even do like a New Orleans accent?
He's from Alabama.
I don't know that I've ever seen him do an accent like other than My Name Jeff.
You can do Southern. Logan Lucky.
Yeah, true. He had like a West Virginia, but it wasn't even really like a super. It was kind of like you sounded like a guy doing a Southern accent. You know what I mean? It didn't really sound like natural, if that makes sense.
Maybe he's been in Brooklyn for too long with Zoe Kravitz.
He's been doing too many dance movies.
If he wants
what was
to do
it again?
Step Up.
Step Up.
Step Up was great.
Enjoyable. You know what? I was rewatching recently the Bop music video from DaBaby, the Jabberwockies.
Yeah, that was sweet.
That was such a fucking
on
cool music
Broadway.
video. I haven't seen anything close to that before, or close to that since, and that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was such a good music video. But yeah, okay, so that's the stuff I've been watching. Anything else? Like, 'cause I mentioned Three Body Problem. It's just not for me.
It's tough for the theaters right now.
No, but like for series and shows too. I watched the Freaknik documentary. Was good. Love Is Blind has been trash. Trying to think of any other reality stuff. I know I've been doing a ton.
I've been watching a lot of series. Just been ripping movies lately.
I've been doing a lot of different stuff.
Love Lies Bleeding. Saw that in theaters. Very good, but not for everyone.
Didn't jerk off.
Yeah, just definitely not for everyone. It's very gay. Every character is a bad person. So fair warning on that. But if you want to see buff chicks kill each other, yeah. You
know what's funny? I didn't realize this, that she had the actress who plays the buff chick.
She's the girl. She's the girl from Katie O'Brien. She's from Mandalorian.
Wait, who's she in Mandalorian?
She's the girl that everyone hated. With the guy who dated the guy who looks like you, or the guy who looks like you was like simping over her when he got relocated.
Yep. The Imperial, whatever. I didn't realize had tweeted at that when they were asking like, yeah, we need like a woman bodybuilder for this role. She tweeted me like, yeah, right here.
Yeah.
And then ended up getting the role. I'm not sure that had anything to do with it, but I mean, that's kind of an interesting.
Not many girls you get cast in that role.
Yeah.
I mean, she's huge. She's gigantic.
I'm trying to think of what else. Because there's a couple of series I'd been watching, but I forget what they were. But yeah, so that's the episode. We'll be back. Next one will be, I believe, a Oscars episode.
Yeah.
We have that almost fully finished up. I have the form still finishing it up now, but you guys will be able to vote on it before we announce it. We won't do like a nomination episode, then an award episode. We'll just put out the nominations, and then you can vote on them, and then we'll do the actual awards ceremony as an episode. But until then, we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.